Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Kropki Consequences. Now, I really had to sort of stretch the definition of Kropki and consequences here to try and come up with a thumbnail that comes anywhere near resembling those words. So when you think about Kropkis, they're essentially white and black dots, and I just couldn't help myself but think of the game Go, if you're familiar with it, where essentially you're placing black and white dots throughout essentially a grid. Is it 9 by 9? Or is that like one of the practice boards? I can't remember exactly. And kind of in my imagination, we've got two opponents here, one battling for good, one battling for evil, the forces of evil. And somehow we need to make sure that the forces of good win. Hence, Kropki Consequences. Well, that's clearly a fabulous story, but nothing to do with the puzzle. Let's take a look at what we have in store for today. We've got Kropki Consequences by Flinty, and we have the following set of rules. So, normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3 by 3 box. Fairly standard. Next, we have killer cages. So the digits in a cage sum to the total in the top left corner. Digits may not repeat within each cage. So for example, what we have here is 3 cells that are highlighted with this dashed line, and we've got a 10 in the top left corner, meaning that these 3 cells have to add up to 10. And apparently these 3 cells and these 3 cells, there's clearly something going on here. We'll take a look at that in a second. Now, the last rule that we have is the Kropki dot rule. But today we only have white Kropki dots. So cells separated by a white dot are consecutive in value. So if we take this 10 forget the fact that it's a 10. These 2 cells, if this was a 2, for example, this would have to be consecutive with the 2. So it's either a 1 or a 3, essentially 1 away from the 2. And there are no negative constraints for today's puzzle. That's fairly straightforward set of rules. 0 digits in the grid. I think we're used to that by now. And a very interesting pattern here with the 10s, the 20s. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And clearly, yeah, 20 and 10 again, 10 and 20. You could almost have called the puzzle today 10s and 20s. Link will be in the description down below as usual if you want to play along and make sure the forces of good win today. And with that said, let me restart the clock and see how I get on. So normally, if you've seen me play XV puzzles before, because I'm looking at these 5s, and I'm thinking clearly one of them is, let's say, a 1-4 pattern, one of them is a 2-3 setup. Because there is only 2 ways of making 5 in 2 cells. But I'm not sure this is where the break-in is. I think the break-in is these 10s or these 20s. Now 10 in 3 cells is actually, whilst not hard, is also not difficult. Sorry, it's not hard, it's also not easy. There are a handful of ways we can make 10 in 3 cages. So let's think about what they are. So we've got 1 and 2 with a 7. We've got 1 and 3, presumably, with a 6, and 1 and 4 with a 5. And then the last way we can make a 10 in 3 cells is 2, 3, and a 5. And that's it. There's only 4 ways. Even better, each one of these 10 cages has a white Kropki dot within it. So I can fit a 127. I cannot fit a 136. None of these are adjacent. So this one doesn't work anymore. 145, 235. So there's only 3 ways of making these 10s. And if I look at the common digits between them, and the reason I'm saying the common digits is you can see that I'm going to have to repeat digits in here because the 1s is twice available, the 2s is twice, and the 5 is twice. So clearly, if I try and do, I'm going to just come up with something like this, 1, 4, 5, I've broken the puzzle because I've got 2 1s in box 2. So I need to essentially hide the common digits in this box. 1, 2, and 5. That clearly can't be the 1. You know, otherwise we would have had a 1 and a 2, but we've already pencil marked this in a column. And then what I want to do, I'm thinking, what am I thinking? Because one of them has this Kropki dot. And then the question is, which one is that? Let's think about this one first. So I could do 1, 2, 7. But that breaks it because I still need a 2, 3 in here. So I think this is, no, I don't think this is the 5. I was thinking this might be the 5 and the 4 and the 1, but I still need the 1, 2, 7 in one of them. So in essence, whichever digit I leave in here has to be somehow one that I will not use again. Hang on, what was wrong with 1 again? I went off the rails there. So that's fine actually, no? No, because then I need to repeat the 1 on here and it's in a black Kropki dot. So whichever one I put on there, I need it to be part of a Kropki pair again. So I think that's the 2, because I can do 2, 1, then I need a 2, 3 again. And that forces it, isn't it? 2, 3 and the 5, because that was a 2, 5, that was the 2 removing it. That's now the 1. That's 1, 2, that's the 7, and that's the 4, 5. Yeah. Okay, almost 5 minutes before I placed any digits, but it's fine. Whoops. I don't think there was any other way of actually doing this, surprisingly. This one here with the 4 tells us that's 2, 3. This tells us this is the 1, 4 pair, and now this is not the 1. That's the 4, that's the 1. We've got more digits. This is 4 or 6, which is not really enough. Right, 20s. You know what I'm tempted to do? It's actually a true statement. It's almost like a rotational symmetry of some sort. It's almost like you've taken a puzzle. Not quite. It's more like a mirror where these sets of puzzles are here and this cage is there and this 15 and the 5. So yeah, it's like somehow mirrored on 30. So essentially what I'm wondering is if I take sort of like the negative of that, so 10 minus whatever these digits are, is that going to work out? 9, 5, 6, 8, 9, 3, 5 again, 4, 6, and then 7, 8. Now before I commit to that, because that was quite convenient, before I commit to that, I think I owe it to myself to think about 20s for a second. So let's think about 20s. So let's go with 9, 8, and 3. That's 1. 9, 7, and that's 16. That's 4, 20. Presumably 9, 6, and 5. Yeah. Then 1 without a 9 would be 8. We're left with a 12. 5 and 7. And I guess there is no other ways of making 20. I've covered all the 9s. I've done the 8 without the 9. And it immediately needs the 8 and the 7, the next highest digit. So yeah, there's no other ways of doing them. Now, same rule, we need them all to have a pair that are adjacent, so the 479 doesn't belong. Then we've got 389, which I've placed, 578, which I've placed again, and 569, which I have placed. And I'm guessing, same issue as before, that whichever cell I put in here, yes, has to appear in a white Kropki dot again. So if I try the 9 can only ever be adjacent to the 8, and then trying to put the 9 next to another 8 again would have broken it, because there isn't another 9-8 pair. And then with the 5, it's only adjacent to the 6. I don't have anything else. So yeah, this is forced again. So at least this one is forced. Then once I place the 8, I couldn't have placed the 9 in here because that would require an 8. So that can be only the 5, only the 9. And yeah, I am going to probably continue to use this symmetry for a while. Actually, I didn't want to delete this. I'll explain why in a second, but I'm looking at this 20 cage now and this 10 cage, and I probably needed these before I deleted them. This 3 gives us the 2 and the 3. We know what this grouping is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. And we know what this grouping is. We've got 1, 2, and 4. Yeah, definitely a symmetry going on. Though I was able to remove the 1 and the 2. I can't remove anything from here. Yeah, because this is a 5, not a 10. Otherwise, I probably would have been able to remove some things. Let's continue. Is it a 10? No, it would have had to be a 15. I don't know. I've lost track now. A 15, a 25. It can't be a 25. Moving on. So I've still got the pencil markings for the 20. Let's have a think about what this is for a second. So it's not the ones with the 5s. Unfortunately, both of these appear to be valid. I think it would be beautiful symmetry if it was also continuing to use the one with the white Kropki, as in the adjacent digits, but this seems totally valid. So if it's 479, we've got 47 in here, that's a 9. That's 4, 5, so that's the 4, that's the 7. So there's at least only one way of doing this. If it's the 389, we've got 3s here, so that would be the 3. And unfortunately, 8 9s. No way of cutting that up. Okay, so that's 20s done. 10s, so we care about 1, 2, 7. And the other possibility is it's not 2, 3, 5, it's the one without adjacent digits. 1, 3, 6. Yep. So 1, 2, 7 is looking pretty busy. Ouch. There are lots of ways of doing 1, 2, 7. And then 1, 3, 6, we've got the 1s. The 3 can only be in there. And then the 6s. Do I have any digits down the row / column that I haven't used? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Haven't got 6. I don't know how this is useful, but I haven't got 6. And then 7, 8, 9. And I'm guessing I haven't got 4 here. Yep. 1, 2, 3, no 4s. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, time for a bit of Sudoku. 5s, 5s, 5 means none of these are 5s. That's the only place for a 5. Does that give us anything? Of course not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we've got 9s. So we know that 9 is in here. 8's not there, 8's not there. This is the 8. I need 6 and 7, which sevens, 6. That's not an 8. Is that the total contribution here? Nope, that's not an 8 either. Kind of thinking of redoing these 20s now that I removed an 8. Don't know if that means I can remove a 9 from here or not. Not sure yet. Is that all of it? Has it given me anything in the columns? 7, 8, that was never a 7. I can actually place the 7. Should have spotted that. That's not a 6. That's not a 7 either. This is only 1, 2. And this is 1, 2, 4. I may need to redo the 10 and 20 cages now. They're a lot more restricted than they were a minute ago. So what was the 10? It was 1, 2, 7 and 1, 3, 6. Sorry, I'm repeating myself here. So the 3 is the 1, 3, 6 is very restricted. That's the only way you could do it. But you still can. The 1, 2, 7 on the other hand is fairly restricted because that's the only place for the 7 again because of these 7s. Then we have 1 and 2 and it is restricted. It's the 2 and the 1. So we're now down to, look at this 4 that was staring down here, 2, not 2. Presumably that's a 3, 7 pair to complete the column. That's clearly not a 4 anymore. That's 1, 4 or 6. That's 1, 2 or 4. I don't think we're going to be quite as lucky here, but yeah, so it was 3, 8, 9. And then the other one that was not adjacent, so presumably 4, 4, 7, no. Come on, what would it have been? 9, 7, yeah, 4. Right, let's try this one. So if there is a 7, it can only be in here, and the 4 can only be there, and the 9 can only be here. That's one option. 3, 8, 9, we've got the 3s. The 3 can only be here. The 8 can only be there, and the 9. So we've certainly tidied it up. Doesn't feel like it's given me anything though. 1, 4. That's a 6. I'm guessing this will only be a 4. Oh yeah, it is only a 4. We've got 6, 8, 9 staring at it. That was there for a while. That finally gives me something. That's a 2, 3 pair. That gives me the 9, because the 9 is made up of a low digit from 1, 2, 3, 4, and a high digit, well, high-ish, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the only one that's left is the 1. This one tells us the order. That's 1, that's 8, that's not 1, that's 2, 4 now, that's not 1 either. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually resolve any of them, but I'll take it. 1, 1, got 1s in here. Actually, let's just do the whole lot. We need 1, 5, and 7, it seems. That's not a 1. The 6 in here gives me this as well. I should have used that. That's a 7, 8. That's a 5 now. That's not 5s. Excuse me, not 5s. That's 1, 7 pair. 6, 7, and 8 doesn't really give me the 7, unfortunately. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I know that the 5 is down here, as well as the 9. We've got a 9 there, so that's 5, 9 pair. That's 6 and 7. We actually know where the 7 is. That's the 7. That's the 6. That's very helpful because the 13 cage now is now restricted to a 6. And that's either 2, 4 or 1, 5. And it's not 1 because there's no place for a 1 in here. We actually know the order because of this 2. That's a 2. That's a 4. That's lovely. 3, 2. Is that all it's giving me? I mean, I can't believe that's true. I must be missing something. 2, 4, no, really is all I've got. Right, the 7. So it's not 3, 4, it's not 1, 6, it is 2, 5. This 2 tells me the order, that's the 2, that's the 5. Doesn't help me with the 20 cage, surprisingly. I know the 1 is here. 1, 2. No, I can only corner pencil marker. I don't actually know what this cell is. So it's not 1, 2, it could be, it's not 3. In fact, I know where the 3 is. There. Has that given me something? Yes, it has. That's given me loads, actually. Still don't know the 10. I do know the 20 now. That's 9, 7, 4. And therefore 8 and 7. I know what this is now. This is 6, 8, 3, 6, 8. That's the 3. That's the 6. That's the 8. And therefore that's the 9. That's the 6. That's the 8. That's the 9. That's the 6. Progress. We certainly know what this digit is. That's an 8. Resolves nothing. We know what this is. 4 and 6. We know the order, 6 and 4, because of this 6, which gives me these 2, 5 and 4, which gives me these 2, 5 and 9. We need to finish off this box. What do I need in here? A 3, which is there, and 9, which is here. I'm actually going to have to solve this box and go back, it seems. You would have thought this would sort of solve much earlier, but apparently not really. 1, 2, 3. What do I have in the column? I need 7 and 8. I know the order because of this 8. This 8 doesn't eliminate any options. I need a, no, I don't need a 7. I need a 4 and a 9. This 9 gives me the order. That's the 9. That's the 4. Still no options eliminated. Right, what's the last set of digits? We've got a 6. Yeah, the 6 will do something. And a 5. And that's the 5. That's the 6. Finally. 1, 2, 7, 3, 2, 3, 4, 6. And up here we've got the 4, and if I've not made any mistakes, the 1. Ah, that's a stunning puzzle, Flinty. Absolutely stunning. I mean, I think the break-in, if you're not familiar with, if you haven't done a lot of killer cages, this probably would have taken most people a while. Because you need to be sort of thinking, yeah, 10s, not many ways of doing that in 3 cells. Then spot the white Kropki dots and see how they interplay to basically fill that in. But I think really the beauty of this puzzle is this whole strange mirror that you have going down the diagonal. And with the 10s, the 20s, the 20s, the 10s. And now I'm guessing the main reason that this is not symmetrical, aside from the fact that these cages are clearly different, is the fact that we're using 2 5s in here. Now, if we probably used a 15 and a 5, I'm guessing it wouldn't have necessarily been solvable. There just wouldn't have been enough information to sort of spread downwards this way if these were 15s and 5s. But I mean, what a stunning puzzle. Thank you so much for it, Flinty. Feels almost like a candidate for Puzzle of the Year, in my opinion. And I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video and today's puzzle. And I'll see you back for the next one. Bye for now.